names for the sake of a joke. Kommel is a great example of this. He was, we'll generously call him the main antagonist of Ace's cover story, and his character arc was about solving the issue with his bitter morning coffees. There's also a Vice Admiral named Nazu Ketagari, which in Japanese is a pun. His name means want to name someone, and he's the Marine in charge of assigning code names and epithets within the organization. Stuff like Ship Cutter T-Bone, Black Cage Hina, and even the fact that Kobe's epithet is Hero is all canonically the doing of Nazu Ketagari. He also handles the assignment of Admiral code names, taking a color and an animal to make Aokiji, Aokinu, Fujitora, Kizaru, Ryukugyu, etc. And this joke Vice Admiral has even named two more joke Vice Admirals, Momo Usagi and Shabdon, Pink Rabbit and Brown Pig, who were actually created by readers sending in questions to Oda in the SBS segments, and Oda enjoyed them so much that they've become surprisingly prominent and even more surprisingly canon. As well as a Marine Easter egg character, every now and then in group shots you may be able to spot this Marine with a hamburger for a head. And look, I want to stress that this is not confirmed, but it is highly suspected that he is also a Vice Admiral because this entire rank is a joke. Good jokes, I should say. Very good even. I love all of the Vice Admirals I just mentioned, but again, I'm not really on board with the whole idea that these are the guys who are just one step away from Kizaru. And another thing that really hasn't helped the perception of Vice Admirals is how they're portrayed in extended One Piece media, especially in the early days. Around the Skype era, the Vice Admiral rank was abused a fair bit because the filler writers needed to create original antagonists, and using pirates all the time would lack variety, and they couldn't touch the Admiral rank, that was forbidden, so Vice Admirals were seen as a good solution. Like Jonathan, the Vice Admiral in charge of G8, an absolutely brilliant filler arc, and Jonathan himself is an extremely well-written character. He has so much heart, but he doesn't quite pack the oomph that we've come to expect of a Vice Admiral. And in One Piece Movie 4, Dead End Adventure, the main antagonist is a former Vice Admiral named Gaspard, who definitely has a lot more of that oomph and is a big struggle to defeat, but ultimately, pre-gear, pre-haki, pre-time skip Luffy does defeat him, which can also color the perception of Vice Admirals for those who do seek out the extended media. There are some very important exceptions to the Vice Admiral rank though. Obviously, we need to mention Monkey D. Garp, who is and probably always will be the most famous of Vice Admirals, but he also doesn't really count because he was offered a promotion to Admiral on multiple occasions. So I'd say a better example of an exceptional Vice Admiral would be Momonga, who we have mentioned already. He was one of the dudes who did nothing during Enisobi, but in his defense, he has put in a pretty decent performance post Enisobi, with one amazing moment of stabbing his own hand to avoid being affected by Boa Hancock's abilities, and during Marineford, Momonga also got the better of Luffy and dealt him a pretty devastating slash. Momonga is the vague model that I want all Vice Admirals to be. Whenever Momonga is on page or on screen, he is actually capable of exuding what this rank is supposed to be, but unfortunately, he's an exception. As is Virgo, a Vice Admiral double agent who may even be the exception, considering he was tough enough to essentially become the primary antagonist of Punk Hazard. And I think that Virgo displays the true challenge that Vice Admiral should present prior to innovations like Devil Fruit Awakenings and Haki Advancement. He was real difficult to beat, as all Vice Admirals should be. And look, other Vice Admirals do exist. There's Suru, her power is to do laundry, and there's also Hotogisu, she helps Suru do laundry, and then we have Best Boy Dalmatian, who to be completely fair has fingered Luffy, so he does have an accomplishment. By and large though, Vice Admirals are just extremely underwhelming, and that is one of the rare failings of One Piece in my opinion, because they have so much potential that I don't think will ever get to properly be explored, and every time I see them in the future, I know that they'll either be present to stand and react, or to kneel and become a podium for another character.
The challenge with e-commerce is often the difficulty in getting